Hi everybody, I Eat Rocks here. Thank you so much for coming to my channel to check out a video. In the background here you're going to see me playing some Conquest on Paracel Storm. I'm going to start out here using the SRA to some good effect. It is my favorite launcher in the game by far, mainly because of the tow missile abilities. The ability to guide your shot alone makes this such a great launcher in my opinion, but the added bonus of being able to lock on to laser designated targets is really the icing on the cake. And if you happen to be in a server where recons are using the PLD or SOFLAM efficiently, you can really cause a big problem to enemy armor. For my primary here, I'm using the SG553, and to this point in the game, this is my favorite weapon. It has a very respectable 830 rounds per minute, a very consistent and controllable recoil pattern that's up and to the right. And just look at these iron sights because they are outstanding, and it's really fun to use the iron sights on a weapon if you can, and this is a weapon that lends itself to that pretty easily. So you might notice in the video in the background that there is some stuttering going on from time to time, and that is not actually a problem with my capture or editing or anything like that. That is a side effect that is left over from the crash patch that DICE released a few weeks ago. It's much better than dealing with multiple crashes per night, but it can be an annoyance from time to time, so just keep that in mind. So the main topic that I wanted to address in this video is the improvements to class balance in Battlefield 4 over Battlefield 3. Now, in Battlefield 3, Assault was by far the most popular class. You saw a lot of people use it if possible because mainly because the revive mechanic in Battlefield 3 was so much faster and easier that it was very easy to rack up points by reviving people. And it actually was to the point of being problematic where you could revive someone multiple times even if they had no chance of getting up and being shot down by enemies. So that was a little bit overkill, and just having the med pack and the ability to heal yourself and teammates was such a huge advantage that Assault was incredible. And on top of that, they also had some of the best weapons in the game. Assault rifles are and were in Battlefield 3 some of the best weapons in the game, so they were an incredibly dangerous class to go against. And then secondary, I would probably say, was Engineer. I actually didn't use Engineer an awful lot in Battlefield 3, but they had carbines, which were very effective against personnel, and obviously the ability to repair and damage vehicles is a gigantic asset in any Battlefield game. So those two classes were the most popular. And then I think it was probably Support. I actually played Support an awful lot, and it was my favorite class in the game, but a lot of people didn't really like it. I really liked the LMGs in Battlefield 3. I thought that they were great, and I also loved, and I still do love, using C4. So Support was a popular class for me to use, but it was not as popular for other people. And then lastly, there was the Recon class, which some people just don't like to snipe, and I think that that's why it wasn't used all that much. And on top of that, it had zero anti-vehicle measures, so it was kind of a shallow class in my opinion in Battlefield 3. Now, Battlefield 4 has made a few great changes to class balancing, and the first, in my opinion, is making carbines an all-class weapon. In Battlefield 3, PDWs were all class, and there were a few good ones. The M5K was good, but in large part I really felt like the PDWs were outclassed by most other kinds of weapons in the game. And so having carbines instead of PDWs be the all-class weapon really makes any class a viable anti-personnel class, in my opinion. The other change that they've made, changes, is a few adjustments to gadgets in a few different classes. Specifically to the Recon class, I think giving them C4 has just been a great change, and I know that personally I play Recon an awful lot more than I did in Battlefield 3, just because I know that I can have C4, and if I have to take out any vehicle, I can give it a shot. You know, that doesn't always work, especially if they're running proximity scan, but a lot of times it does. And then a few other things, like the new launchers for Engineer, I think are a great change. I already talked about the straw, but the Law is an easier to use launcher. I know a lot of people don't like it. And then you still have the RPG and the SMA. So yeah, those are great. And lastly, giving the support class remote mortars so they don't have to sit on the mortar, I think was a good idea. Even though I don't think that they're very effective at this point, I think that it's a great idea, and they could be fixed to be a viable option. And the airburst, if you haven't tried it, is great on those corridor maps like Operation Locker. So just a few tweaks to gadgets, and making a different class of weapon be all class, I think have really made any class a viable option for almost any map. So good on DICE. I've really appreciated it, and I've noticed that I'm spending a lot more time evenly throughout the 4 classes. So lastly, in closing here, I wanted to just take a second to address the game itself. Now, when this game works, this game is easily my favorite shooter I've ever played. Now, I know that there are a lot of people in the community right now who are really upset with the game, and if you're having game-breaking bugs and crashes and, you know, glitches that are really problematic for you, I sympathize, and if you're upset, I can definitely say I get where you're coming from. But for me, at least, the game runs fairly well, and I'm just really enjoying it, and I'm enjoying it more than I've ever enjoyed another shooter. So I just wanted to, I guess if you are having problems, I know it doesn't really help when someone says, hey, the game works for me and it's fun, but to maybe just take a break and wait for DICE to fix the game. I know it's really scary that we're 2 months past release and the game doesn't really work all that well for some people, but try to have some faith and really don't give up on this game, because if they fix it for the platform that you use, then it's a fantastic game. And I hate to go, but I've already run out of time, so thanks for stopping by, and I'll talk to you later.